there's something you should know about this transmission. What up, guys? Back again in the garage, and it's kind of funny. My daily driver sits outside. All these two cars are in here. Does anyone else do that? That seems kind of back-ass words to me, but until I find storage for this or decide I really want the Lexus inside, which I'm not too worried about it sitting outside unless it's winter. I prefer to keep these inside. Anyway, I wanted to touch base with you guys and run you through the next steps for the Z car and what I plan to do. The first mission is to get the transmission bolted to the motor. Let's go check that out. So obviously we're working with a Toyota 2J-Z engine, right? And the transmissions that bolt to this were obviously Toyota. However, I think it's called a B160 and a W58. Forgive me if I'm wrong, that's probably wrong, but those transmissions are hard to find, and I don't think they're as good of an option as the Nissan CD009, which I'll talk about. But I've always known I wanted this to be a stick shift car, ideally a 6-speed. And I know I wanted to do roll racing, drag racing, and everything in between, weekend warrior, whatever, cruise around, have fun with the car, experience, just enjoy racing. When I started getting into this, I'm looking at what my transmission options are, and the most common thing I kept seeing was the CD009. As you know, I edit for 1320 video, and I see all kinds of cars, so it kind of gives me a well-rounded idea of what's out there and what specifications and what setups are out there. So through editing all these videos, and specifically Texas streets, there's one particular S2000. The owner is running a 2J-Z with a CD009, and this car was making like 800 horsepower at the time and consistently just screaming around on the streets. I'm sure it weighed similar weight to what this thing's gonna weigh, maybe a little bit more. And this past year he added a cage, so I think he's up near 3,000 or more pounds. I knew that this setup works. Like, it's very similar to what I want to do. And I know he's gonna do some drag racing. I hit him up, and turns out, yeah, he has a CD009 behind a 2J. It's a GE, which is also funny. So we're literally working off the same base platform. So at that point, I hit him up. I said, hey, how are you adapting this Nissan transmission to a Toyota engine? That's always interesting to me. You know, you're basically Frankensteining two things together, but deep down it's all kind of the same. You just gotta figure a way to put them together. So at that point, he told me, I've been using the Maverick Motorsports adapter. You know, I said, okay, how much work's involved? You know, what do I gotta do? I'm sure there's, you know, I've looked at the Z32 transmission option, and I know you have to mill the bell housing, and a lot of those applications said, no, you just bolt it up. It's literally an adapter plate and a clutch. And depending on the clutch option, you might have to run a flywheel that's kind of acts as an adapter, but basically it's a bolt-on affair. I went ahead and I've ordered that adapter, and let's go and check it out here. I got it over here so here's our transmission. And here's our adapter kit. This is by Maverick Motorsports. Like I said, I don't know if you can see that, but basically Maverick Motorsports guy. I mean, the piece is just awesome. I mean, it looks great. It's a brushed aluminum, really nice piece. You can tell he's taking his time and, you know, really put his effort into it. So, and I also here have the flywheel adapter I was talking about. This is actually for a single plate Spec clutch that is really only useful for up to 500 or 600 horsepower, if I recall. Obviously, we're going to be going right at that, or maybe a little above. I don't know about that yet, but I know that this is going to get returned, and I'm going to go with the twin disc Spec. But again, this is also a very nice piece. I mean, it's just beautiful. So nothing cheap about this kit, and I will say I think it runs around $900 to $1,000 for everything. Then you have all your bolts and your hardware. So that will allow us to bolt this guy. This is the CD009 Nissan transmission. Supposedly this transmission is good to 1,000 horsepower even on drag setups, which is awesome. But there's something you should know about this transmission. So these transmissions come in 350Zs, G35s, and also the 370Z. I believe the 370Zs are the same, might have a little bit of difference, but it's important to know that the CD009, there's two versions. There's the first version, which was very weak, and the second with the upgraded synchros and such that can handle the huge horsepower we're talking about, 1,000 on drag setups. So that is exactly what this is. This is the 2006 G35 CD009 with the stronger synchros. It's also important to note the fork setup here. Not all of them have that fork setup. I believe in mid 2006 they started having the slave cylinder on the collar here itself, and I just got lucky enough to have that weird hybrid where it's the upgraded synchros and it has the fork in it. I think that's kind of the ideal situation, so I really lucked out. I found this locally. It's out of a G35 2006 model year, so I'm ready to go with the transmission stuff. I really, like I said, I lucked out there. Another thing to note is that we will have to find a shifter bracket because this isn't going to work in the Z car, so this will all unbolt. There are aftermarket options to make this work better in custom applications like I am. So basically this is kind of the whole kit and what I'm going to be using to bolt the transmission to the 2J-Z. And I've been very fortunate to have a transmission solution that's going to support exactly what I want to do. Like I said, the next step in this process is to bolt the transmission to this guy and actually put it into the engine bay itself and start mocking up motor mounts that will be on the frame rails. But first, I really need to start tearing out all this wiring, the radiator, everything you see that can come out needs to come out. I'll also be bolting on the mid-sump oil pan on this guy, which will work with this factory cross member. That'll stay in the car in order to make sure that oil pan does clear the cross member properly. And I do plan on pushing the engine far back as it can to the firewall. Might have to change up the hood latch there, maybe do some hood pins, I'm not sure yet, but basically whatever, if it interferes with the engine positioning, it needs to go. That's kind of the plan at this point. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on what is going on. Had a lot going on this weekend. Like I said, like you guys saw, we got the 510 on the road. Still ironing out some things. I know it's still making some rattling, and I ordered a V-van for the exhaust. I just want to make sure everything's kosher before we head to the dyno day to get it dialed in. But yeah, you know, everything's going pretty according to plan for the most part. This YouTube channel and this content allows me to relay my information to you guys so that maybe you can use it down the road when you do something similar, and it kind of keeps me on track, reminds me that I need to do what I say in these videos and do it when I say. So the videos have been a blessing in disguise, so I hope you guys enjoy them. I've really enjoyed them. It's been real fun making this content and having you guys follow along and do this with me. So soon enough, we will be working on the Z car. I'm hoping starting by tomorrow. If I get my shit done early on, we'll get cracking on this. We'll bolt the transmission to the engine and we'll really get rolling. I just want to take a minute and ask you guys to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on this video if you enjoyed the content, and hit the bell too. When you hit that subscribe button, that's actually going to send you a notification on your phone, on your home screen, that I've posted a new video. So check back in the next few days for an update on the transmission going on the engine. That's going to be a whole new experience for me because I've never put one of these transmissions on these engines. So hopefully it's straightforward as I think it is, and we'll go from there. So thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.